They say the hardest part of love isn't falling, it's surviving the silence after someone walks away. I still remember the last time I saw Ethan before everything unraveled. It was raining because of course it was. He stood under the awning of my apartment building, hair damp, eyes red-rimmed, voice shaking as he said, "I can't stay, Leela. Not like this." Not like what? I never got a real answer. Just a hollow kiss on my forehead and the sound of his footsteps getting further and further away. 3 years later, I still hear them in my sleep. I rebuilt. I forced myself to. Threw myself into work. Smiled through parties. Dated men who smelled like him. But never kissed like him. I told myself he was just another lesson, a storm I survived. Until tonight. Until I walked into the gallery, dressed in black silk and new confidence, and saw him, Ethan Reed, the man who said goodbye like it meant forever, standing across the room like time hadn't dared touch him. His hair was shorter, jaw sharper. Suit tailored to the man he'd become, but those eyes, still the same reckless, burning ocean I drowned in once. His gaze locked on me like a heat-seeking missile. No one else existed. Not the guess, not the music, just him and me. I turned to leave. My heart, it sprinted. My hands, shaking. But then, Leela. One word, my name, like it belonged to him. I hated how fast I stopped walking. He came closer, slowly, like he thought I might vanish if he moved too quickly. "You're here," he breathed. "God, you're actually here." I narrowed my eyes. "Didn't think I would be. Did you?" "I hoped," he said. "But after what I did, I wouldn't have blamed you if you never wanted to see me again." I didn't respond. My throat was a battlefield of words I hadn't said in years. He studied me. "You look stronger. You look the same," I said flatly, still full of beautiful lies. His smile faltered. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small card, an invitation. My name scribbled across it. "There's an exhibit next week," he said. "My work, first one since I lost you." I stared at the card like it might bite me. "Why now, Ethan? Why reappear after all this time?" His voice cracked. "Because I never stopped loving you, and I couldn't die with that silence between us." I should have slapped him. Should have walked away. But instead, I whispered, "You left me once. Don't expect me to believe you'll stay now." His eyes didn't flinch. "Then come find out." He left the card in my hand and walked away. Not like last time, not running, but waiting. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt something dangerously close to hope. But hope, I'd learned, was the most deceptive heartbreak of all. The gallery lights dimmed in memory the moment I stepped into his exhibit. A week had passed since Ethan handed me that invitation. I stared at it on my nightstand every night like it might rewrite the past. I told myself not to go, that he didn't deserve another second of my time. But my heart was louder than my logic. And here I was wearing the same shade of red he once said made me look like fire. The room smelled like paint and heartbreak. I hadn't even seen him yet, but his presence was everywhere. And then I saw the first painting. It was me. Not a literal portrait, but unmistakably me. My silhouette wrapped in the swirl of sunset hues. Head turned, eyes closed. The title, She was the goodbye that broke me. My knees almost gave out. I turned and saw another my laugh in watercolors, fragile and flickering, and another my hands, my eyes, the curve of my shoulder he used to kiss at dawn. Every wall, a memory, every canvas, a confession. He never stopped painting you. A voice beside me whispered. I turned. A woman, mid-30s, sharp cheekbones, artist's hands. I'm Claire, she said, his curator. And for a while, his almost. I blinked. Almost, she smiled softly. He tried, but you were still in every brushstroke. I asked him once why he couldn't move on. You know what he said? I swallowed. What? Because she's not just the woman I left, she's the only place I ever felt found. Tears pricked my eyes before I could stop them. Why are you telling me this? Because I loved him enough to want him whole, and you're the part he's never stopped aching for. I stood frozen as she walked away. And then I heard the voice I wasn't ready for. Leela. Ethan. He stood at the edge of the room, hands tucked in his coat pockets, eyes afraid to hope. You came. I turned, ready to wound, to demand answers. But the tremble in his smile disarmed me. I wasn't going to, I admitted. But your ghosts wouldn't leave me alone. He laughed once. They haunt me too. I looked around. So, what? This whole exhibit is a love letter. No, he said quietly. It's an apology in color. Silence stretched between us like tightrope. You hurt me, Ethan. You broke me in ways I didn't think I could heal. I know, he said. I was weak, afraid of becoming my father, of loving you the way he failed to love anyone. You should have trusted me. I whispered. I should have fought harder. He said. A pause. He took a step closer. You taught me how to feel, Leela. But I had to lose you to learn how to stay. My breath caught. His hand hovered near mine but didn't touch. I don't expect you to forgive me or to come back. But would you let me show you who I am now? I looked down at his hand. Then at the painting beside us, the one of my eyes closed, lips parted, mid-laugh. I'm not that girl anymore, I said. He nodded. I'm not that man. I don't know if I believe you. He met my gaze, steady. Then let me earn it. I wanted to say no. But instead, I said, start by telling me the truth. Why did you really leave? His jaw tightened. Because I thought loving you would destroy you. And for the first time, I saw it. Not just guilt in his eyes, but fear, the kind that breaks strong men. I stared at him, at the man who once made me believe love was a forever thing, then vanished like it was a phase he had to outgrow. But now, with the weight in his voice and the way his hands trembled when they weren't touching mine, I realized he never stopped carrying me. I thought loving you would destroy you, he said again, softer this time, because I wasn't whole. I came from a man who turned love into violence, into control. I didn't know how to give you safety when I'd never had any. My throat burned. All I ever wanted was you, I said, and all I ever feared, he whispered, was becoming someone you'd regret choosing. The silence was raw. No music, just breaths, just hearts trying to forgive. You should have let me decide that, I murmured. I know, he said. I was a coward. I almost laughed. You were the bravest man I knew, until the moment you left. That hit him. His gaze dropped, like he couldn't bear the shame in my words. Then, like a storm he couldn't stop, he confessed. After I walked away, I spiraled. I drank. I broke things I loved. I let guilt chew through everything I was. Claire found me passed out in my studio 2 years ago. That was my bottom. I stepped back, shocked. You nearly drank yourself to death. I didn't think I deserved to live. Not after what I did to you. It was too much. Too fast. I needed air. Space. I turned, ready to walk away again. But then his voice followed me like gravity. I went to therapy, Leela. I've been in it for 2 years. Every week, working on myself. Working through every scar my father left and everyone I gave to you. I didn't come back to win you back. I came back to say I finally became the man you deserved. I stopped, not because I believed him, but because a part of me wanted to. I turned around slowly. Why tell me all this now? Because I saw your name on the guest list, he said. And I knew, if fate gave me even 1 minute with you again, I wasn't wasting it with lies. I looked at him, truly looked. He did seem different, quieter, more grounded, but the same ache lived in his eyes, the same love. I don't know if I can trust you again, I said. I don't expect you to, he replied, but maybe we can start with something smaller. Like what? He hesitated, then smiled. Dinner. I blinked. You want to take me on a date after 3 years of silence and 1 emotional ambush in a gallery? His smile didn't waver. Yes, Ethan, 1. Dinner. No promises. Just 2 people with unfinished stories. Maybe finding a new chapter. He handed me a small card this time, not an invitation, just his number, written in pen. Old-school. I took it without realizing. And then he leaned in, not to kiss me, but just close enough for me to feel the warmth of him. I never stopped dreaming about you, Leela, he whispered. But this time, I want to build the dream with you awake. I didn't call him that night, or the next, but by the 3rd morning, I was standing in my kitchen, phone in hand. His number typed out, thumb hovering over the call button like it weighed everything I'd buried for 3 years. I hit dial. The line rang once, twice. Leela. His voice, quiet. Breathless. Like he hadn't believed I'd actually call. You said 1 dinner. I said, don't make me regret it. I won't, he promised. Tonight. A pause. Tonight. The restaurant was the kind that whispered intimacy, low lights, when the color of sin, and a table set for 2 with too much history sitting between us. He looked at me like I was still art. Still sacred, and it terrified me. Why here? I asked, glancing around. He smiled. Because it's where we had our first date. I froze. Of course it was. I thought you forgot. I remember every second, he said. What you wore, the way you laughed too loudly at the waiter's joke, how your hand kept brushing mine, but never stayed. I didn't know whether to smile or run. So I said, let's skip the nostalgia. Okay. He nodded. Tell me who you are now. That caught me off guard. No man had ever asked that. Not who I was. Just what I liked. What I did. But who? So I told him about my new job. my quiet weekends, how I learned to sleep on the right side of the bed instead of the left because that was always his side. I told him how I stopped writing poetry after he left and how I only recently started again. And then I asked him the same dot he told me about sobriety, about therapy, about painting in silence and the noise of regret that haunted every stroke. He told me about his mother, how she never forgave herself for staying with his father, how he promised never to repeat that cycle. But then he looked at me and said, "Until I did." My breath hitched. "But I want to unlearn that man," he added, "every day." I looked at him, unsure what to say, because part of me wanted to believe him, but another part, the one he left shattered, still built walls in the middle of the night. "Do you still love me?" I asked before I could stop myself. His answer was immediate. I never stopped. The words hung between us like a challenge. I looked down at the flicker of candlelight between us. "I don't know if I love you anymore," I whispered. "I don't know if I even know how to." He reached across the table slowly and placed his hand palm up beside mine. "Then, let's learn," he said, and I did something reckless. I placed my fingers in his, not because I was ready to fall again, but because maybe I was ready to stop running. Later that night, he walked me to my door. Neither of us spoke. The air between us buzzed with something old and electric. "I'm not inviting you in," I said. He nodded. "I wouldn't come in, not unless your heart opened the door first." And just before he turned to leave, he said, "I'm not leaving again, Leela, even if I have to wait outside this door for a lifetime." And then he walked away, not the way he did 3 years ago. This time, he didn't look back, but I did. And maybe that was the beginning of everything new. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake staring at my ceiling, my fingers still tingling from where they touched his. Every part of me wanted to believe him, but belief doesn't come easy when you've spent years convincing yourself love is a wound you shouldn't reopen. Still, something shifted. For the first time in forever, the silence didn't feel so heavy. 2 weeks passed. To dinners, 3 walks. No kisses, just words, soft, careful, true. Ethan was showing up, without demands, without timelines. He was becoming the man I once begged him to be without me having to beg at all. But I didn't realize how far I'd let him in again until I found the box. I was reorganizing my closet when I saw it. A plain, dusty showbox buried beneath scarves and regrets. Inside, the life we never got to live. Photos of us at the beach. A postcard from Paris he bought, but never gave me, and a letter, unopened. My name written in his handwriting. I sat on the floor, knees pulled to my chest, heart thudding, and I opened it. _Leela. If you're reading this, it means I failed you. It means I ran again. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know something I never said enough. You were the first person who made me feel like I was worth staying for. I'm sorry I didn't know how to stay, but you changed me, even in leaving. I will spend every day trying to become the man you believed I could be. I love you. Still. I cried. For the girl I was when he left. For the man he was when he wrote it. And for the people we were becoming, maybe too late, or maybe just in time. The next night, I knocked on his door. He opened it in a worn, black t-shirt, paint smudged on his wrist, eyes wide like a man praying he wasn't dreaming. I didn't speak. I held out the letter. He read it, swallowed hard. "You found it," he said. "I think I needed to." I replied. Silence. A breath. A heartbeat. Then I whispered, "Come inside." He hesitated just for a second, then stepped in. We didn't rush. We didn't fall. We let the moment unfold like it had waited years to be real. He brushed my hair behind my ear, his fingers trembling. "Can I kiss you?" I nodded. And when he did, it wasn't a kiss of lust or apology. It was a kiss that said, "I'm here now. I'm not leaving again." When he pulled me into his arms, I collapsed into him, not because I was weak, but because I finally felt safe. And he held me like I was the only thing he never wanted to lose again, like he'd memorized the shape of my soul and promised never to forget it. That night, we didn't just fall asleep, we rebuilt something. Not what we had, but something stronger. Something that had been broken and chosen to heal. People think second chances are rare, but I've learned the rarest thing isn't getting another shot, it's having the courage to take it. He left me once, but this time, he held me like he'd never let go. The end.